Just really weird how all these people know each other, ladies and gentlemen. Yet Trump knows a guy who in 1967 took a shot of Smirnoff, and they're definitely Russian colluders. But the fact that all of these people involved in a fabricated hack by the Russians that there's no evidence of, conclusive, that's then used to foster the collusion hoax investigated by Mueller, that all the people involved in this all know each other. Obama's fixer appears in all of it, and nobody seems to care at all. Quote, to say Obama was a huge fan of Ruemmler is an understatement. He called her, quote, an outstanding lawyer with impeccable judgment, requested she postpone her departure from the White House on 3 separate occasions. Yet when she finally did leave, Obama said, quote, I deeply value her smarts, her judgment, her wit. Listen up. But most importantly, her uncanny ability to see around the corners that nobody else anticipates. That's Barack Obama about his fixer, Kathryn Ruemmler, who fixes all his problems. You doubt me? Here's a great piece by Sidney Powell. Yes, Mike Flynn's terrific attorney. She wrote it in The Observer a while back. I'll put it in the show notes today, bongino.com/newsletter if you'd like to read it. About the fixer. Says sex, lies, and ... White House counsel Ruemmler blunders into Secret Service mess. From the piece, check this out. Kathryn Ruemmler, Obama's fixer, seems to creep up every single time there's a scandal. We see it everywhere. Quote from Sidney Powell's piece. Enter Kathryn Ruemmler after the Secret Service scandal, former White House counsel, who repeatedly is discussed as being on the short list for Attorney General. This was a while ago, obviously when Obama was in office. There's mounting evidence that she should just be renamed, quote, the fixer, the Olivia Pope for this president. Mr. Obama reposes great trust in Miss Ruemmler. He has applauded her impeccable legal judgment, still considers her a close personal friend. But yesterday, Miss Ruemmler was all over the front page of the Washington Post, this time in the Cartagena sex scandal cover-up. She was also involved, and you can Google this, but in the interest of time, or excuse me, internet, sorry, it's a bad habit I got to get out of. Don't use Google. Use anything but Google. In the not Google this, she was also heavily involved, and please check it out, in the IRS scandal, covering up for Obama, the Benghazi scandal, and a multitude of other things. Ruemmler was always there to, quote, see around corners for Obama. Now that we've established that, Obama's fixer leaves the White House, and really weird, she keeps turning up in the Spygate scandal too, as we expose in my book, and yet you don't seemingly hear anything about it, as being just weird. That at every step of the Spygate scandal and the Mueller witch hunt into the Spygate collusion hoax, you don't hear anything about how it's really odd that of the, millions, tens of millions of lawyers around the world, Obama's fixer keeps turning up at these critical junctions in the case? Let's go to ABC News. Here we go, folks. Mueller witness charged in a child pornography case? Mueller, yeah, that's Bob Mueller. Mueller's key witness. George Nader was stopped while entering the U.S. on a flight from the UAE. So just to be clear on this, Bob Mueller, his key witness in the case, a guy by the name of George Nader, who was intimately involved in, I believe, this setup of Eric Prince, who was in the Trump orbit. I don't want to go into that whole story, but Nader was intimately involved in setting up this meeting. I believe the meeting was a setup. Nader's being used by Mueller to advance this collusion hoax. He's one of his key witnesses. There's no way Obama's fixer, Kathryn Ruemmler's Nader's lawyer, right? Well, let's check that out. Let's go to the ABC piece. So George Nader, has had frequent access to almost every White House, both Democrat and Republican. Gee, I wonder if the Clinton White House is in there. You say, except for the Obama White House. Notice how they throw that in there. Well, he didn't need that, apparently, because one of his lawyers shepherding him through the 7 interviews with Mueller's prosecutors was who? Oh, Kathryn Ruemmler, White House counsel under Obama. Gosh, that's really weird. Tens of millions of lawyers around the world. And who does Bob Mueller's key witness, George Nader, I believe involved in a meeting that was a setup of one of the Trump team members. Who shows up to see around corners? The Obama fixer. Liberals are saying, Dan, just chance. She's just a really good lawyer who this guy accused of child pornography, who Mueller was using as a witness, bizarrely. Just chance she shows up to defend him. Okay, you can keep telling yourself that. Well, was this just chance too? What about this Politico piece here, where the Obama fixer sees around corners and winds up again defending who? Susan Rice. Here's Politico, Kyle Cheney. Lawyer for Susan Rice. The Obama administration was justifiably concerned about sharing intel with the Trump team. Crazy how that lawyer, let's go to the Politico piece. Was this the Obama fixer again? Oh, there it is. You even got her picture there. There's Kathy Ruemmler. Check her out. It says the letter by Susan Rice's lawyer, Kathryn Ruemmler, pictured here, was a response to Grassley and Graham, who'd inquired about an email which Rice sent to herself hours before the Obama administration left office. Gosh, that's awfully weird again. Obama's fixer, who, quote, sees around corners, just keeps appearing, defending a guy accused of child pornography who's Mueller's using to set up Trump, defending Susan Rice, who sent that notorious email to herself. We did everything by the book. Sure you did. That's why you needed to send yourself an email. Now, because I'm wearing Joe's ombudsman skills out. Paul, is this weird? A little weird, right? Getting a head nod for Paul. You know what would be even weirder? If when Carter Page sued the DNC over the fake dossier used to spy on Trump, the fake dossier which alleged that the DNC was hacked and that Trump was involved with the Russians with it, you know, the fake thing we discussed before, wouldn't it be crazy if when Carter Page, who was named in that fake dossier, which the whole collusion hoax was based on, that when Carter Page sued the DNC over it, which propagated this, wouldn't it be really crazy if Kathryn Ruemmler appeared again to clean up Obama's mess and, quote, see around corners? It would be crazy. So let's go to the Washington Examiner, great Jerry Dunleavy, and his piece. Obama White House lawyers fight Carter Page's DNC lawsuit by defending the gist of the Steele dossier. Is there any chance Kathryn Ruemmler was defending the dossier too and seeing around corners? Let's go to the body of Jerry Dunleavy's piece, and we'll find out right quick. The DNC legal team, comprised of 5 lawyers from Latham and Watkins, includes lead counsel Terry Reynolds, Nicholas McQuaid, and former White House counsel Kathryn Ruemmler. And they claim the statements in this dossier are susceptible to an innocent construction. They relate to business and political contacts that Page himself undisputably cultivated in Russia. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, great. Yeah. That's just really weird. Again, all the lawyers in America, and the DNC magically picks the Obama fixer involved in the IRS scandal, Benghazi scandal, the Secret Service scandal, who's also defending an accused child molester, also defending Obama's national security advisor, all people knee-deep in the whole collusion hoax. But it's really Obama's fixer's the only lawyer out there in America they can seem to find, and she keeps creeping up. You know what would be even weirder? It would be really crazy if not only did Bob Mueller, whose former lieutenant, Sean Henry in the FBI, ran the company that made up the whole DNC hack thing. That would be crazy, but we already showed that. You know what would be really crazy too? If Bob Mueller's FBI, which ran the Enron investigation, and the lead prosecutor over there in the Enron investigation was Mueller's lieutenant, Andy Weissman. Remember Enron? You know what would be even crazier? If Kathy Ruemmler, Obama's fixer, worked with Andrew Weissman on that case, loved him, and it gave him a recommendation when he then went to work with Bob Mueller about the fake stuff about the DNC collusion. That would be really crazy, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be. But Reuters is all over this. They already did the homework for us, so don't even worry. Bizarre, Joe, I know. Try to get your arms around it. Come on. As Coach Stan used to say, come on, guy. Wake up. Joe, I know you're puzzled by this whole thing. Right? I'm kidding. If Joe knows the story better than anyone because he's been listening to it for 4 years. Reuters. Mueller team lawyer brings witness flipping expertise to Trump probe. Karen Fryfield, Reuters. Who appears in this Reuters piece extolling the virtues of how wonderful Andy Weissman is, who had worked hand in hand with Mueller in the past, and is now was the lieutenant who's now gone completely crazy, making ridiculous conspiracy theories known on MSNBC. But Weissman, who was really the lead prosecutor in the witch hunt against Mueller against Trump by the Mueller team. Look who appears in the Reuters piece telling people how wonderful Weissman is. There she is. There she is, folks. Kathy Ruemmler, who served as White House counsel under Obama, said Andy Weissman is willing to take risks to secure witness testimony. Yeah, you ain't kidding. That other prosecutors might not. Little did she know how prescient that was. Ruemmler worked with Weissman. She did. Ruemmler worked with Weissman on the DOJ Enron task force that investigated the corporate fraud that led to the collapse. It's just really fantastical, spantabulous, spectaculation. Isn't it just crazy how Ruemmler worked with Weissman, who worked with Mueller, who worked with Sean Henry? There you go. Look at that. Paula's throwing up our handy-dandy flowchart. George Nader, represented by Kathy Ruemmler, Obama's fixer. Obama had a terrorism advisor, Lisa Monaco, who worked with Kathy Ruemmler. Keep this up for a second, because this is always entertaining. I have a flow chart we put together for the show. Paula brings up once in a while. Lisa Monaco worked with Obama. She also worked with Ruemmler and Weissman on the Enron task force. Monaco, who took the spot previously filled by John Carlin at the DOJ. John Carlin, who used to be Bob Mueller's chief of staff. Lisa Monaco was Bob Mueller's chief of staff, too. They all worked in the Enron task force run by Weissman. Weissman employs Jeannie Rhee and Aaron Zebley. Yeah, lawyers who had Democratic allegiances, one of them who worked for the Clinton Foundation. Just really weird how all these people know each other, ladies and gentlemen. Yet Trump knows a guy who in 1967 took a shot of Smirnov, and they're definitely Russian colluders. But the fact that all of these people involved in a fabricated hack by the Russians that there's no evidence of, conclusive, that's then used to foster the collusion hoax investigated by Mueller, that all the people involved in this all know each other. Obama's fixer appears in all of it, and nobody seems to care at all.
You just heard Dan Bongino.